This week, I found a better place to put all this glue. Time for make or break. Hey guys, welcome back to Make or Break. I'm Rob. Now Sarah is still gone on maternity leave and I'm still recovering from surgery, which means I can pick up a bottle of glue, but not a whole lot else. Fortunately for me, my dad, who's a finished carpenter, was here in town for a week and helped me with a bunch of projects, starting with this one. I told him it was frustrating trying to keep track of all my glue, so we set out to build a place to store it all. Here's how it went. So what we're gonna do today is take a 1x4 and we're going to turn it into a glue rack, right?
Right.
Awesome. Let's go.
First things first, we're going to cut this 1x4 down to 30 inches, make it easier to work with.
All right, so what we're doing is we took the table saw, the portable table saw out of the table here so we could actually use the span as a place to secure a longer piece. And because we're gonna be using, this is one of my favorite Hart tools. So this is our new brushless hammer drill we got recently. We've got a huge hole saw on the end of this thing. And you want your piece to be really secure whenever you're drilling out big holes like this because this can seize up. Hence having this extra handle on here, which is nice too. So we're going to clamp it here. My dad and I did some math to figure out where the holes need to be for each one of the bottles. And now I'm gonna let you drill some holes while I get out of the way. Now, these hole saws aren't really designed for doing this. We think that they're actually for masonry. So we're going to be a little careful, and the actual pilot bit on the inside is kind of thick and big. So we went ahead and drilled some smaller holes with a nice brad point that were able to give us these pilots for the pilot. Hopefully that'll help. So the first hole we drilled all the way through, and my dad warned me about this. Going all the way through means that we're gonna have a lot of tear out on one side. Not critical because we're gonna do a little round over on each one, but just in case, he decided to go ahead and go halfway through till the pilot gets through it, then flip it over so then we can drill from the other side to avoid all that tear out. So that worked pretty good. Now for the fourth hole, we switched over to a smaller hole saw because we've got this Rockler glue applicator doohickey thing, and it's not as wide. We're gonna grab our trim router and round off the edges of these holes just to kind of clean it up, make it look nicer, and just make it easier for the bottles to drop in. Okay, so we got our pieces cut, they're ready to go, and we just had to cut the side pieces. We kind of measured, we just kind of held things together here and discovered that 4 inches would probably be perfect. There we go. I'll put the other one in there, and there we go. So before we start assembling this, my dad had a really good idea. We're going to use a Forstner bit that's about the same width, a little bit larger than the tips of the glue bottles. So he's going to put a small hole underneath each slot so the tip will have something to go into and hold it vertical. So we're gonna give that a shot. And now we're going to assemble them, and to do that, all we're gonna do is use some wood glue, which we happen to have that handy, and then we're going to use our brad nailer to kind of hold it together until it dries.
Now, we want to make sure we get these in the right direction.
That's important now that you put the holes in it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this thing turned out great, Dan. This was a fairly easy project to do. We don't need to put any finish on it. It's just gonna sit in the shop and do its job. But boy, is it gonna be nice to have all these different bottles that typically end up all over the shop, to have them organized all in one place. And for me to, got my 2P10 here too, for me to be able to grab this, go put it away, bring the whole thing out whenever we have a project where we need adhesives like this, and just have them handy. Organization makes such a big difference in the shop.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Super easy project. If you don't have one of these, you ought to build one for your shop. There's a bunch of other things here in our shop that we want to organize and we're going to be working on in the coming weeks, so be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss those. I want to thank Heart for sponsoring this episode, reminding us that we can build anything we can imagine if we do it with heart. All right, Dad, break's over.
Let's go make something.